Hi, this is Johnny Bergen with another Chicago Blues guitar lesson. This time, once again, back to Little Walter. And most of you who know me know that I always say, if you really want to be serious about blues guitar, I think you should learn every Little Walter song and all the guitar parts. And it's amazing. It just opens the door to playing the music in the chord, learning so many songs, playing with great harp players, and on and on. So you'll thank me later. Anyway, this is got Freddie Robinson on guitar on the bass lines and Luther Tucker on the chord. This song has basically a 24 bar form, then a 12 bar guitar solo, and then it doesn't finish the rest of the 24 bar form. And that's the whole deal. So it's a little confusing. You might feel like, what is going on here? Also, the 24 bars doesn't have a 5 in it. Now, the solo is just regular. So it's like the bridge is a 12-bar blues. And then it's a different thing. 24-bar forms are really interesting. Like In the Open by Freddie King has a 24-bar form. And you can see them around. I recently listened to John Namath's Stronger Than Strong. And he has a like halftime version of Guess Who, where it basically takes twice as long. And it's really kind of hypnotic. So 24 bars are... it's an interesting way to do things. So he also sings on the second beat of the bar, not on the. So, yo baby ain't sweet like mine. So it gives you this sense of this like infinite drag. So anyway, I'm gonna use this pickup, put the treble on 0. And here's my bass sound here. I think it's not loud enough. Let's try it now. Okay. That's your bass line. Or pinky. Or second finger. There's lots of ways to finger it the way you want to. Kind of relates to a scale, right? G major or G with a flat 7th. This is a classic scale form here, starting with your second finger, but you can start with your first finger. And then if you start, let's say you start with your second finger, then your pinky on that's 3rd fret, second finger, E string. Then your pinky, 5th fret, D string. And walk down. That's it. And this is in a lot of bass lines, like Mother Earth. That's Mother Earth, or You May by Jody Williams. But this is a little different. It's instead of do, you have 5, 4 on the A string. All told, it goes like this. When I'm blue. And then or I played the same thing in a different place. Now that reminds me of Bob Stroger, this wonderful he's well over 90, bass player from Chicago. He's won many awards. He's on many great records like Eddie C. Campbell's King of the Jungle, some Otis Rush stuff, and so on. Played with Willie Mabon. Anyway, he's always doing this. He's always going ba 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 ba. Anyway, here's how you finger it. That's cool. So this is like an arpeggio. First finger, 2nd fret, 5th fret with your pinky on the A string. So then you got to get your second finger into the action. That's the flat 7th, 3rd fret D string. Then pinky here, root, 5th fret. Then your first finger is just sitting right there, ready to go, G string. And walk back down. Then you got to break your form stretch back with your first finger on the first fret. It's kind of boogie woogie. You can play with the rhythm on that, not for this song, but in general, for fun. So anyway. Yeah, Bob. Yep. Everybody's doing your riff. Or maybe it came from Freddie Robinson, or who knows where it came from exactly. It sounds like a piano thing that was adapted to the bass. Or you could play it this way. All on the all on the E, A, and D strings. Then you slide. Instead of playing here, you slide up with your third finger to the 7th fret of the E string. Then your first finger sitting right there. Pinky out to the 8th fret, 5th fret. And there's that 9th note or 13th note or whatever you want to call it. The 2nd, not the 13th, the 9th or the 2nd. That's just the A note, G note and A note on the D string. And like go back down the way you came, and then you got to get your 2nd finger in on the 6th fret of the E string. Yeah. And sometimes you hear that to go into the breaks. It's a lot like Temperature. That's another song that's kind of like this. In fact, they're really similar. So that's the bass line. And then the same thing. Oops. And that's just, or you just might hear. So, okay, now I'm going to switch my tone. Let's go to the middle selection and open up the treble just about all the way. I'm going to bring the volume down because he played super hard at not a super high volume. Whoopsie, that's way too much already. This is, sounds like a buzzing mosquito, doesn't it? I've listened to this really carefully. I can't tell if it's this or just this. If it's a 3-note chord or a 4-note chord. 4-note chord. I don't think anyone's going to be rolling in their grave. So let's try the 3-note. Whoops. The bad thing is you don't want to hit that open D string like I just did. If you're wondering what this chord is, it's a G6. You can do it that way too with all 4 notes. If you move it down, it's a 9th. If you move it up, it's a 6th. So 3, 5, 4, and 5 if you want on the E, B, G, and D strings. Okay. That's why I think it's da 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 da. And you just slide it in there with some flair and get out. Move up to the 4. I think the 3-note chord is the way to go. Just be careful not to clang into the open D string. And that's really it. There's hardly any turnarounds. He doesn't do any of that. He's really pretty restrained or something, or economical. He's hard-boiled, just the part. That's it. So those are the parts, but the form, first I thought it was a 3-bar intro, but then that made no sense. But I started counting from the very beginning. It's a 24-bar blues with an extra 1 right before they do the breaks. And who knows why that extra 1 was there. That's a mystery for the ages. And then later on, they corrected it. They didn't do it. And then you've got the bridge, which is just it feels so good to go to just a 12-bar form there. And it's just interesting to think about these 24-bar blues to make a certain effect. People are always like, oh, just a 12-bar, whatever. It's like, actually, Earl King did 10-bar blues. There's plenty of 16-bar blues. There's lots of 8-bar blues. there's probably 32 bar blues out there, and there's 24 bar blues, and it's also interesting that there's no 5. Maybe you don't need the 5. Maybe you don't need the whole form. So he shortened the form with one less chord, and he expanded it, with the 24 bar form. So I think it's pretty interesting. So I'll just run through the bass line real quick, and you guys can practice along. You just have to figure, oh baby, sweet like mine. Hit a little harder on the 1, because that 1 is telling you, dude, this is where we're at. You could do a whole G6 chord like that. I like that. If you wanted to. If I was the only guitar player, that's what I would do. And then he goes to a 9th chord. This is Luther Tucker. Or you could just play the top 4 notes of a 9th chord. When I'm blue. It almost sounds like it's like a little loop-de-loop that flips the song, and it's definitely a signal to say, let's move on to the next chord. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't heard this song, definitely check it out. Maybe you can start experimenting with longer and slightly different forms in some of your own songs. And, hopefully if some of these Little Walter guitar parts are new to you, it'll help open the door to them. I think Freddie Robinson's really interesting. We talked about him with his part in Blue and Lonesome a while back. And one of these days I'm going to do some of his stuff like Off the Cuff or something really cool, modern, funky R&B blues. That's definitely in the works. Drop me a line. Stay in touch. Keep picking. Thanks for being with me on Patreon and on this channel. And see you next week. Thanks.